Alright, so I'm going to vinyl wrap my new front Valence for the 5th gen 4Runner. Got it from a buddy of mine. I'm going to put it on my SR5, but I want to vinyl wrap it black, matte black. So first off, we need to clean it up. Got razor blade. I'm not going to use the front holes right here. I want to just cover them for the front license plate. So just a straight razor blade. And just do what I can to make it as flat as possible. The vinyl, it will show through on the vinyl, so you want to do the best you can on any bumps or holes. Alright, pretty happy with that. So you can wash it. I'm going to fully clay bar it to make sure it's all nice and clean, get rid of all this dirt. I use Mother's Showtime spray as a lubricant. Normally I use Mother's clay bar, but I already ran out of that, so I just got some clay bars off of Amazon. Pretty cheap, but just broken in half, and then I just start spraying it down, make sure it's nice and lubed up. For the bar, if the bar starts sticking, then you just add some more lubricant. I just try to hit all over with it. Takes off any tar, bugs, any like debris, but we want to try to get it as smooth and as clean as possible, so that way it doesn't show through the vinyl and the vinyl sticks to the plastic. You can go, when you're doing this, you can kind of feel the resistance of dirt, and then it'll really smooth out once you go over it, so you can tell how much you need to go. And as you go, not too bad, you'll start to see a little dirt. Just fold over your clay bar, put it in a ball, whatever you need. Just give it a nice, smooth, clean area to go on. But we want to try to hit all the edges. Alright, so there's a little bit of dirt in there, but it's pretty good overall. And just take a rag and just start wiping it down. Get nice and dry. And you can start looking to see if there's any spots you missed. See if there's any spots that you missed as you dry it off, and you can always go back over. I'm gonna wrap the vinyl inside too, so I'm cleaning this inside edge. That way it'll give me a nice clean look. If you already have the Valence installed on your 4Runner, you'll probably not be wrapping it all the way in, and it'll just be cut right down the line, but it is obviously easier to have it off and wrap it around the edge. Alright, so next up you want to pre-fit your vinyl wrap. I like VViViD vinyl a lot. I use that on a lot of stuff already. This is leftover from my hood. I did center like hood stripe basically. It's from the 5-foot by 6-foot piece, so I'm just using what's left over. But basically just taking the Valence, you want at least an inch around so you have room to work with. And then I'm just gonna make sure it fits all the way. And you get an idea, making sure you have room on the side so it can wrap around, and again have extra room. I'm just gonna cut right along here. And it's always, I'd rather have go extra and cut off more later than end up being short and not having enough now, and then you're wasting the piece anyways. So just a little extra there, throw off here. You're gonna be able to stretch it a little bit too, but you don't have to stretch it that much, and then the better. So if it's there, and I'm just gonna cut off some of this. So make sure that all can go around. Same thing here. You get a general idea. I'm gonna cut it off right here. Alright, so that's pretty close to where I want it. Now, what I find easiest, find for the top, this is the top where the license plate goes in, so it's going to sit like this on the car, but this is the flattest, smoothest part, so I'm going to start it up here and then work my way down and work my way into these edges and little bumps right here, and then wrap it around. And then I got my heat gun, and then if you buy the VViViD from Amazon, that's what I did. A lot of times they'll give you these squeegees with the little felt on it. You can also buy these separate. And then this was just a heat gun I got off of, was it Seek One, off of Amazon. I think it was like 20 bucks. It's pretty cheap, but I like it because it has the adjustable heat, and it does have cool down, or like the coolness gets pretty cold. So yeah, but first I try to just do as much as I can without any heat and just kind of get set up. So I'm gonna start it like this and just work my way down. Make sure your hands are clean. You want to get no debris under there, not windy out. Ideally, if it's a little warmer out, it helps. You don't want it too cold, and then you have to heat up the tint a lot more, and it's just a lot more work to do. But I just try to center this as best I can, so that way I have clean work. And starting up here, I'm only hanging it over by, I don't know, ½ inch or so. Right now I'm just putting my knee on it to have a little more room to work with and a little more pressure. If you have someone to help you, it's great. Helps up, really makes it easier when you have an extra helping hand. I have my wife help me a lot, especially for heat. But she's busy right now. I have the baby over here. She's seeing what I can do without it. Help right now. So that's my starting line, and I'm just gonna work it on over. I'm just gonna do as much as I can with my hand and fingers, keeping the pressure good. If you have to, just back it up, get a little more pressure on it to get those bubbles out. You want to avoid as many bubbles as you can from the get-go. Got a few little bubbles here and there, a couple little nicks from the vinyl overlapping a little bit because I stretched it so much, but overall super happy with it. And just wrapped everything onto the inside like this, and now I'm just gonna go ahead and start trimming along here. I'm gonna leave a little bit of a lip so it has something to stick to, but when it goes up to against the 4Runner, as long as I have some around the edge, I think I should be good. And typically, I mean, I normally go right along the edge, but because I have this and it's gonna push on, I'm just gonna leave extra to make sure it really stays on there, because I did stretch it on the sides right here a little bit, so you can see a couple of the little marks. And I can clean up a little bit up here on top because this is gonna be the top part, so I want this like nice and good. I cared more about this whole like front top part because that's what you see most. And then on this side, I ended up having a little bit of overlay, so I just ended up cutting a line and then just overlapping it compared to having wrinkles. I thought it looked cleaner, and again, it's gonna be on the side and the bumper's gonna basically hide it anyways, so just kind of cheated on it. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, so right now, just gonna go ahead and cut all this off. Alright, so just kind of cut it around. I'm just gonna take the heat, just make sure that's all stuck in there good. Clean these corners up a little bit, but otherwise pretty much good to go. Just make sure it's all stuck, and then finally I just do a whole layer of heat all over, especially the edges, to make sure there's no curl up or anything that I don't want, and then clean it up now before I put it up back on the 4Runner. Your corners will have a little more because it's all typically bunched up because you had to stretch it around. I'm only taking it off just to make sure it'll still lie flat and not push out the Valence against the 4Runner. Yeah. You might have a couple of bubbles. You can just take a needle and pop them out, or you can get a vinyl special tool for it on the internet, but just a needle, something to release there, and then you just push it down in, heat everything up too, like I said. So I'm done with this for what I want it. You can kind of see the holes right here for where the license plate mount is, but overall pretty much covered up. And then I just had matte black, so I liked it. But you can do whatever color you want. Yeah, they have all sorts of colors online. But you can see a little bit too where I stretched it. Especially right here, a little bit of marks. This is where I was getting towards the end, kind of having to stretch it more to make it flat. Just be careful. I know I've seen videos where guys are, if you have like a carbon fiber or certain colors, if you start stretching it, it actually changes the color a little bit. Matte black seems to hold up pretty good, but like I said, like this was my main part because it's gonna sit on the 4Runner like this, and then this is gonna wrap down underneath, so you're probably not gonna see much of it. You're just mostly gonna see this part. And again, like for most people, they're not even gonna notice. They're just gonna see that it's matte black. You have to get pretty close to start looking at some flaws in it. So it just depends on how precise you want to be. But yeah, that's about it. And then on my next video, I will be drilling the holes in my SR5 to do this. This is off of a TRD Pro, but I forget which other versions have the front Valence, but SR5s do not, and they do not have the holes. So I'll link into the next video and I'll show you how to do that. Pretty simple.